Good afternoon to Ma'am Francisca, Serious, and Ma'am Yovita. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our final project. We took the title is Translation of the book entitled When You Are Ready, This is How You Heal from English to Indonesian. Before entering the discussion, I will introduce my friend, it's Winda, and me, it's Yuviyanti. And to the background, humans are social beings who always interact in their lives. And when socializing, the link is language. Different language can create misunderstanding. Translation is sometimes done consciously or unconsciously in everyday life. When faced with a language barrier, this becomes a barrier to understanding the information and knowledge of others. This diversity of language because of different background, culture, and custom of each individual. Therefore, translators are need to be able to convey message. The book, When You're Ready, This is How You Heal, the student translator are interested to translate it because this is a motivational book and the reader needs this to already growing lives. Next. According to Larson, translation can be called a good translation if it meets three criteria. It's accurate, natural, and communicative. The translation is not an easy thing to do, but it is also not a difficult thing to do. A common obstacle is the difference in culture between the student translator and the authors. In meeting the criteria of translating that the student translator intend, the student translator have learned from courses such as translation, listening, writing, and grammar. The student translator have also used English from the beginning of the lecture, and the scores obtained in learning the course are quite good and satisfactory.
So the book When Ready This is How You Heal belongs to the non-fiction category book, with its type being motivational book. Of course, people will search for ways to entertain themselves after exciting activities in order to get excited. For those who like motivational book, this book is perfect. The book When You're Ready This is How You Heal was written by an American broadcaster and author named Brianna Weiss. The author is known for doing a lot of research on emotional intelligence, and the author has published many books, including 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think, Ceremony, The Mountain Is You, Saltwater, and etc. When people read this book, they will get a lot of inspiration, which is needed for someone who is experiencing failures in their life. By being able to maintain a stable mood and mentality, a person will be able to control themselves and slowly heal from the wounds of the past. Through these books, readers can receive various motivations that are channeled to help them change themselves for better if they fall into failure in themselves, and can also increase the interest of the readers, who can also learn to gain knowledge so they can help others in their experience with the similar things. The reader, when read this book, can certainly help themselves get motivated, and they can also help each other who have the same problem and want to heal in the past in order to live a better life. So the failure in life can certainly cause a person's mental health to be disturbed so that the awareness become low and cause depressions. Awareness of the mental illness is undervalued. This can be seen from number of people who can handle the mental health cases. So through the translation of this book, it is hoped that it can help Indonesian people learn and improve self-improvement to become strong people who rise up to their lives again without falling into the past.
And this is the summary of the original text. This book tells about the situation of loss, for example, losing someone you love, not being able to express what you want, crying over someone whose love is not for you, moving on but not being able to forgive the past. This book provides motivation as well as teach people how to love themselves, prepare to change life, face problems with confidence, leave people who are not ready to love, and people who are not afraid to reopen old wounds. To continue the journey of life, with not forgetting the past, somebody needs to repair themselves. and learn to understand the process of life so they can walking toward the future. Old words can still exist but can be held by preparing oneself so one to do experience the same once again. Next.
And next is the challenges of the original text. So translation is done to convert text from the source language into the target language to make it easier for readers to understand the content of the text. In this book, the student translator find difficulties in anaphora and idioms. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or sequence of the words at the beginning of successive clauses, phrases, and sentences. According to Jacob, anaphoras are pronouns that have their attendants in the same minimal sentences or noun phrases. Anaphoras must have an attendance that is included inside the same smallest sentence. Anaphoras must have attendants in their smallest clause, but pronouns must not have any attendance in their smallest clause. So for example is you will have to, an idea we had about, we have to learn to let it go, to trust yourself means, and maybe you are. Anaphora is a challenge because anaphora is a linguistic expression with the word repetition. The word is repeated at the beginning of the sentence. Therefore, the translation students must be able to translate in a language that is easy to understand, has the same meaning, and can emphasize the meaning. And next is idiom.
And idiom is, according to Crystal, idiom is defines a term of use, grammar, and lexicology to refer to the sequence of words which are semantically or syntactically regress. So they function as a single unit. And this is the idiom what we find in this book, like sweep off our feet, knock you off your feet, and for good. Idioms are difficult because the words are used to express expression whose meaning cannot be obtained from their literal meanings. Translation students must be able to find a meaning that can be connected to the sentence so that the meaning can be understood by the reader. Next. And it's the translation strategy employed to deal with the challenge. To deal with potential challenge, the student translator used the word-for-word method, and the technique is literal translation. According to Molina and Albir, literal translation technique is switch an expression word by word, but the structure already follow rules in the target language. And according to Nermak, word-for-word translation is often the most as literal translation with the CL immediately below the SS words. The application that the student translator use is like Bing Translator and online dictionary, so that the sentence that the student translator make a correct in the accordance with the rating. The student translator use application to double check the grammar, and the student translator can also have discussion with the supervisor about vocabulary or sentence that are difficult for us to adjust to the translation language. Next. And this is the anaphora. You will have to. The paragraph consists of two sentences. At the beginning of each sentence, the same word is you will have to. In the sentence, the student translator translates each word but still pays attention to it, whether each word can be connected to be a sentence. The sentence mentioned that you will have to spend the time alone, candlelight, be comfortable with solitude, and who will spend and explain it all is you. Next.
And the other anaphora that we found in our book is an idea we had about. The paragraph has 3 sentences with the same word repeated in the beginning. Translating the paragraph using by the word by word method and the literal technique will not lose the meaning that the author wants to convey. Who owns and knows about us, how the future is, and about the world. It's all just an idea that only we had. And next is we have to learn to let go of. So letting go is not easy letting go of acquaintances, avoiding arguments, letting go of things that only remind old people, letting go of someone who cannot be owned, How can this be done? It can be done by we who must run. Here, the author wants to convey the readers that letting go must start with yourself by learning. And next is to trust yourself means. The author wants to convey that you must move forward, not accept fear, change your perspective, and not be satisfied with yourself today. This is accomplished by believing in yourself, and students translating with literal technique still pay attention to the meaning that the author wants to convey.
And next is maybe you are having an established career, still having it easy, learning, trying new things, and daring to follow your dream. All of these things happen because of your potential. You are the one who can experience and go through this all by yourself. Next. To translate anaphora sentence, student translator use the word-for-word method, and the technique is literal translation. To profit the literary text with repeating anaphoric element by translate its word with always pay attention to expression of the word and emphasize the message to be conveyed by the readers. Therefore, word-for-word method used by student translator to translate its word to their own meanings, also with the literal translation technique. Next. And this is the sweep of our feet. In the word sweep of our feet, when interpret the word is sweeping our feet, even the example sentence above interpret in the words, of course, the sentence will not having the true meaning. The word sweep of our feet can indicate when someone feel emotional or fascinated to the above sentence. Student translator convey the meaning of sweep of your feet through based on some situation emotional and adjust the context of the sentence to be reached through the sentence. Everything that is means for you will have to like a deep as though you are returning home to a place you forget accepted. We so often yearn for and want to things that help us escape who we are. But the things that actually means for us, the ones that arrive and stay, they makes us feel a sense of steady calm. In a moment is where love really exists. The moment is the only place we can come alive. Next.
And next is knock you off your feet. In the word knock you off your feet, when interpreted, the word is to knock you down with your feet. If in the example sentence above is interpreted by words, of course, the sentences will not have its true meaning. This depends again on the context of the text of the sentence to be delivered. The word knock you off your feet can indicate it, an expression often used to express admiration or strong attractions towards someone. It can also be used to express surprise or admiration at something someone has done or said. So in the sentence above, students translators translate through sentence conveying how someone begins to release the emotional side of themselves. And the next is for good. In the word for good, if interpreted word by word, is for, untuk, and good is by. If the example sentence above is interpreted word by the meaning of for good is untuk kebaikan. Of course, the sentence will not have its true meaning. This depends again on the context of the text of the sentence. If the word for good is located at the end of the sentences, it will mean for good, but especially if it is located at the beginning of the sentence, for example, for good future, it will mean demi masa depan yang baik. Therefore, the sentence is interpreted to mean for good. In idioms, students translator use the return methods and composition techniques. To find meaning in words, they use this method because this method looks for words that are equivalent of these words and can be linked into a sentence with appropriate grammar. According to Molina and Arbir, translation technique is to introduce a ST element of information or stylistic effect in another place in the TT because it cannot be reflected in the same place as the ST. So this technique is done by conveying message to another part of the translation, and this is done because of the influence of style on the source language, which cannot be applied to suggestion language. And next is the concluding remark. The translation of the motivational book will be suitable for readers because it encourages them when they experience difficulties. The challenges found are, of course, using strategies to find the real meaning. Even though double checking has been done, there are still sentences that need to be revised. And students translators have not previous experience in translating and also lack information about the culture of the author of the book. So this is a limitation in translating the text. And we realize that there are errors that are far from perfect, and we hope that the translation will be accepted for its shortcomings and that the meaning will be conveyed well to the reader. And this is the references that we use to do our final project. So thank you for Serios, Mem Vita, and Mem Francisca for the opportunity that given for us. We're sorry there is some mistakes and in pronunciation and words. Thank you.